Hey everyone, thank you so much for your attendance here this evening at our Day of Giving training. We're going to take a few minutes to make sure everyone can get on, and we'll start very shortly in just a few minutes. So thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us at the Day of Giving training this evening. My first request before we get underway would be if you have not put your unit number in the chat, would you please take a moment and go over to the chat space and drop your unit number in there for us. That way we know which units are represented in our training this evening. And we do appreciate that. So welcome to the 2022 training for the Day of Giving, which is going to be held on January 19th, 2022. I might mention that a few times this evening, so be prepared. My first thought this evening, assuming that I can hit the go button, is thank you. You make it possible for Simon Kenton Council to positively impact over 11,000 youth in your communities, and that makes a difference. We really do appreciate that you're taking some time out this evening to help us help our communities be successful through Simon Kenton Council. Now, the Day of Giving program, last year, we had a 700% increase in district and council volunteer leadership in the program. We had a 450% increase in our unit engagement last year. And as I hope you know by now, our donation total was fantastic. It was a good 413% increase over the 2020 campaign. It was a great day. We had a lot of fun. And I know several of you, if not many of you, were a part of it in one fashion or another. And if you were, we do thank you. We want to continue to build on that success this year. As you know, Simon Kenton Council, like all the Boy Scouts, is volunteer driven and led, staff guided and supported, and that's what makes it all happen. I'm going to ask Jeff Moe to join us this evening and give us a few words of wisdom about his thoughts about Day of Giving and the importance of your volunteership. Jeff?
Thanks, Bob, and good evening, everybody. And appreciate your joining us, and certainly especially appreciate your role that you will be playing in our Day of Giving success. You know, the Day of Giving is a big part of Simon Kenton Council's overall and diverse funding picture. Council's income sources, there are a lot of them. They include camping and activities income, popcorn sale, United Ways, fundraising events, Friends of Scouting, and even more. As you know, Simon Kenton Council is introducing a program fee of $60 per traditional scout beginning on January 1st for all of our youth memberships. In planning for this, our leadership indicated that this program fee would replace unit family FOS presentations as they were becoming more ineffective and requiring more time for volunteers and staff to coordinate and conduct. and frankly, they had diminishing returns as well. We have an obligation to fund the scouting program in our council throughout our 19 counties. This program fee supports a little bit less than 10% of our operating costs in 2022. Accordingly, we have an obligation to give every Scout family, parent, volunteer, Scouting alumni, past donor, and other interested parties the opportunity to financially support Scouting in the Simon Kenton Council. And our Day of Giving event focuses these efforts to get the word out and provide the opportunity to our stakeholders. There will be other tactics used to generate FOS contributions, including community and district leadership campaigns, email and mail campaigns targeting families and others. And there are people who appreciate what Scouting has done for them and want and expect us to ask them to contribute and make a financial contribution. We're not going to apologize for this. So if someone says to you, the council said that they weren't doing FOS anymore, that's never been our intention. And we want to continue to give people the opportunity to support Scouting financially. We're just doing it a little differently. And so the Day of Giving, as Bob just shared in the last slide, has a pretty big effect on the finances and the contributions that we receive. So again, I want to just say thank you to each of you for what you are going to do to make this Day of Giving a success. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Jeff. I really appreciate your words of counsel and advice and your leadership that helps make this all possible. You lead the staff that helps support us and helps make this all work. Day of Giving. Now, as Jeff alluded to a little bit ago, why do we do this? Well, first, we want to expand the Scouting movement by telling Scouting's story. We want to help donors and Scouters feel like they're part of something bigger. The Day of Giving offers an easy way for current donors to continue supporting Scouting and an easy way for prospective donors to begin supporting Scouting. And it allows people a way to share how Scouting impacts them personally. So who are the people behind the scenes? I did not introduce myself at the beginning of this presentation. I probably should have. My name is Bob Beasley. I'm the chairman of the Day of Giving campaign this year. My vice chair and Sergeant at Arms and everything else is Rich Maskeel. You'll hear from him in just a few minutes. Our Daybreak District Chair is Andrea Gonzalez. Our Gateway District co-chairs are Phil Freeman and Nathan Weber. The Polaris District Chair is Nathan Erickson, and we're still working on getting a Frontier District Chairperson. Most of you who are online with us this evening are probably unit coordinators or somebody who's trying to line up a unit coordinator. So you're on the team. And our council staff members are a part of the activities and behind the scenes and helping foster the possibility of making this a success. So as a unit coordinator, what are your activities? What are your responsibilities? Well, before the Day of Giving, we're asking unit coordinators to share and review the messages and materials that we've prepared with unit leaders. And you are allowed to augment them any way you'd like, as long as it happens to help the program. We're going to ask you to share the unit goal, incentives, and message with parents and anyone else who is related to the units, and to identify matching gifts ahead of Day of Giving. On the Day of Giving, we're going to ask you to post social media and communicate with parents and leaders. Actually, we're going to ask you to do that beforehand too. Should have mentioned that. We're going to ask you to make a gift. About everyone on this phone call, I'm certain, is probably a regular donor to Scouting, and it is appreciated. And so we're just going to ask you to, if you can, keep doing so. And if you can do some more, please do that as well. And then track your unit's progress so that your unit gets towards its goal. And after the Day of Giving, we're asking unit coordinators to follow up with those who did not participate in the Day of Giving before January 31st, and to make sure that you deliver the pledges and donations to the council office or to your district executive. Those are the responsibilities that we're asking unit coordinators to do. What's our timeline? Well, today we're training the district chairs and unit coordinators. By November 30th, the unit coordinators should deliver call and email lists to the DE. Volunteers for the Day of Giving phone calling should be recruited. An online promotion kit delivered to the unit coordinators. That's going to come from your DE, or you're going to download a lot of it from the website. We'll tell you how to do that shortly. By January 15th, we will have trained the phone call volunteers. They will be the volunteers that are going to help us on the day of giving by calling out while we're doing our online activities. From January 20th through the 28th, we'll do some follow-up calls and emails and try to reach out to people we haven't heard from and get secure donations. And on January 31st, we will have reached our unit goals and will qualify for an incentive. So what's the unit incentive? For this should read for 2022, should it not? Yes, it should. See, if I type better, I would know that. Free cloth advancement for 2022. To earn that, you have to have a Day of Giving unit coordinator, attend the Day of Giving training, and reach the unit Day of Giving goal by January 31st, 2021. Simple. 22. Even more simple if you do it forward rather than backward. Next time I'll proofread this, I promise. All right, our Day of Giving goal, $175,000 to be raised by the end of January, which, by the way, will support 1,000 scouts. The unit goal is determined by the unit, the volunteer, and the district executive. And I'm going to ask Ben Mulkey to come on over here and kind of explain how this works, because it's math and I don't do that.
Thanks, Bob. Full disclosure, that typo was my fault, not Bob's fault. So I wanted to share with everyone, because it's been a question that's come up quite a bit, is how's our goal made? And there's lots of different methodologies we use in order to make a goal for the Day of Giving for a unit. But this is kind of one of the simplest ways to kind of show how a goal might be made for a pack or a troop or a crew or a post. So we do look at several years of history. So if we see a pack is given consistently $1,000 and their membership stays the same, it's pretty easy to kind of gather how much we should make a goal at. One thing I will note, though, is the conversation where it seems to get where people are kind of their eyes are open is when they find out how many gifts they actually have coming in from their unit. And so in this case, this is pretty typical, actually. Let's say this pack 1, 2, 3, 4 has 50 scouts in it. They have 50 Cub Scouts, and they give $1,000. A lot of times the impression we get, if the person's new to their Day of Giving, they might say, well, $1,000 is a lot from our families for 50 scouts. So that's a average gift of $50. In reality, though, most of the time what we find is that most of our scouts are, excuse me, I did incorrect math there, but most of the time what we're finding is that only a small number of people in the unit are actually making a gift. And what that means is we get an average gift and we try to find a way to increase the amount of giving in the unit and participation in the unit. And in this example, we have $1,000, 5 gifts. That's pretty easy math to say about a $2,200 average gift, which means, hey, let's for the 2022 goal, let's try to get one more $200 gift. Maybe we get 4 people to give $50, but try to raise that participation level. And so that's kind of how goals are made. And it is also, if you feel like your goal is kind of exorbitant or not it's not set the right way, feel free to contact your district executive, your district Day of Giving chair, myself, and we'd be glad to have a conversation with you about why your goal should be a different amount. Just know, though, we're always looking to increase participation, increase the number of people giving, and obviously try to increase our how much money we raise to help support scouting locally. So I hope that helps explain some of the methodology. I'd be glad to sit down with anyone, as our DEs would, or our district people, and talk more about goals and what it goes into actually making them for your unit. So we have one. It sounds like we have one comment in the chat. So Peter had mentioned that with the council fee increase, some history may be inaccurate, and that could be the case, Pete. I'm not going to disagree with you. There could be people that say, I gave $100 last year. Now that you're charging me $60 for a program fee, I'm not going to make a gift, or I'm only going to give the difference. What we're hopeful is that those that make a donation to scouting and are really invested may say something along the lines of, I'm being charged an extra $60. for program fees. I know they're going to help a lot of kids and get more kids involved and help make sure that we have programs for everybody, regardless of their circumstances. And I'm still really invested and still want to make a donation to Friends of Scouting. And I want to get more people to do the same thing. So I know that day of giving is optional, and the program fee is not, obviously, but we want to still give that people the opportunity to make a donation, and hopefully we'll continue to have success with this effort. So Tanya had asked about when will it know about our goals. So one of the things that we did last year is we made a blanket statement of basically Tanya's question about making goals is we kind of made goals for every unit. This year we have not done that because in years past we had every unit that expectation of doing FOS. Our new expectation is that we will have people opt into doing the day of giving, and we're only going to really make goals for units that have indicated they want to participate. So once we've kind of got a good baseline of everyone who's participating tonight, and I guess going forward, maybe a little bit after the training, people have committed, we'll be distributing goals to units that are all in on the day of giving. So.
Should point out that if the unit chooses not to participate in Day of Giving, that doesn't mean we won't be contacting anybody who has ever donated to Scouting before in that unit for another contribution, because they have indicated in the past that they are friendly to Scouting and want to support it. So we are going to reach out because, frankly, Scouting needs the money. I don't think I'm sharing any secrets there, or betraying any secrets. I'm going to ask Rich Maskeel to come on over and talk to us about the social media aspect of our Day of Giving campaign and how we can augment and get some energy going. Rich?
All right, sounds like I'm the young whippersnapper, so I get to be in charge of social media. Young whippersnappers at 40 might not be too young. But so one of the things that you'll find is you can find at that link there is the toolkit, the Day of Giving toolkit for social media. You are going to see all sorts of resources there. The banner that you see at the top of this slide is available as a Facebook banner. Let me click over so you can see more specifically. There are all sorts of pictures, texts, email signatures, sample letters, all sorts of digital resources that you can use on any platform of social media that you wish to help generate the message. I would encourage people to get that message out early and ahead of time to start kind of laying the water and getting people excited for it. Now, one of the other reasons that I was kind of tapped in this position is last year I did a big blitz as a unit leader. So here are some examples of Facebook posts. And basically what I did is I went on and made a promise to myself that I was going to present a new post. I think it was every hour and a half that I did. So, and I told a story that went with it. So on the left side there, you'll see a real handsome looking devil that looks a lot like me at 17 at my Eagle Scout Court of Honor. And the gentleman making the Scout sign on the right of that photo is my father, who is also an Eagle Scout. It was a great picture for me and means a lot to my dad and I to have that picture of him retaking the Eagle Oath as I took it for the first time. And those kind of personalized stories really, really hit people in the heart and encourage people to share. On the right side is another example. When I was about 16, 17, our troop in the Cleveland area went to the Air Force Museum and took this picture of myself in the middle there, and on the bottom, my childhood best friend, who my kids refer to as Uncle Andy. We took the same picture because we thought it was cool, and then about a week before crossing over from Webelos to now Scouts BSA, my son was at Wright Pat Air Force Base with the troop that he was joining and recreated that same picture. So I talked about what a legacy Scouting can be. And these kind of things really hit home with people. And like I said, posting every hour and a half or so, really personalized, touching stories. The stuff in the toolkit is fantastic, but whenever you can personalize that message and say what it means to you and why it's important, hits home. And I can tell you that I had at least 3 people that I know of that called me and said, we are donating to the Day of Giving that have not donated to Scouting in either years or ever. Because they said, obviously, this means a lot to you and we love you and support you, so we want to help you out. So I would highly encourage you, like I said, personalize that message and make it happen.
So I just have one question.
Yes, sir.
Was that a disco ball there at your Eagle ceremony?
Yes, the VFW did provide a disco ball for all exciting opportunities. All right, so that sums up again our day of giving, except it will be January 19th, 2022. Oh, okay, sorry, that's right. I'm sorry. We're watching a video here to show you guys from last year. That explains the date. I apologize. Just to give you an example.
Hi everybody, my name is Vanessa.
My name is Miguel. We're both from Pack 98, Gahanna, Ohio.
My favorite part of scouting is that we get to have hot cocoa and s'mores.
What I love about scouting is how we get to learn different things each time we rank up.
What I love about scouting is when we get to go fishing.
The scouts support the community by leaving their trace wherever they go.
And by keeping the parks clean.
Please support the 2021 Simon Kenton Council Day of Giving.
All right, so that's another example of something that you guys can do at home with your own families, the youth in your life who are being positively affected by scouting. It doesn't have to be pictures, it can be videos. That's great. Anything that gets the word out about how much scouting means to you and your family is all but guaranteed to make an impact on people who wish to donate and support the program. All right, so with that, we are going to open up for some question and answer time. And we had a few in the chat earlier. We can take chat, or I'm assuming we can take them live in the studio.
Yeah, I think people should be able to unmute themselves and ask the questions, or they can chat, put it in the chat if you don't want to speak on the training.
No questions?
Yeah, you said something earlier about giving our DEs lists of names or something. Did I miss that? Was that something that we're supposed to do?
So this is Ben Mulkey here. I just wanted to note, so one of the things we've noticed frequently, if your unit's participating, is that we have several units that have different contact information than what was put in for their scout originally when they registered the scout. So for example, let's say my son crossed over into a troop and he didn't have an email address, or our email address has changed, our phone number's changed, but we've just been rechartering that scout for the last 6 years, and all of our contact information has changed, but you guys know that in your unit because you have a separate contact list you use. What we're hoping to do is if you, like, for example, we'll do texts, we'll do emails, we'll be doing a lot of different Day of Giving promotions from the council level. And if you could just say, hey, here's our most up-to-date contact list, we'd appreciate you submitting that so that we can just make sure our records are updated and we're communicating with people and helping with effort.
So will there be an opportunity to be able to send things out through Scoutbook then? Because
Yes.
I don't necessarily have a good list. I think they updated in that and then we go through Scoutbook. So I don't necessarily have a good list. It's in there.
You can totally use Scoutbook for this effort too. In that case, if you're just going to use Scoutbook, the text messages that we'll have available, and then also the emails will be really good. You should be able to put some of the graphics in the Scoutbook emails too. I've used Scoutbook frequently for communication with my units in the past, and so we're just trying to make sure that we have all the data necessary, because we do frequently hear from people that they don't get the messages we send out. So we're just trying to make sure we're. Can't hear. Can't hear.
Your internet connection is unstable. That might explain it.
Probably not helping it.
So I'm told you could not hear me very well. That's the first time anyone's ever said that. So, I guess what I'd say is, yes, you can use Scoutbook for your communication. We're just trying to make sure our records are updated to make sure that we have all the best data to communicate with your unit leaders, your scouts, and their families. So 2 more questions in the chat. We're going to pull that up really quick. So one of the questions is, how does a unit coordinator track progress? So one thing we can do is we could run a report where we just have all the youth and adults in your unit. You can also get that from Scout Book too. And you could also ask us, hey, what money's come in? Usually we're not going to have that number until the day after the day of giving. And that's why we have that window of time where we can basically go into the 31st, because it does. Last year, we basically broke our system. We had thousands of gifts come in, and tracking, while it was accurate, being able to generate a list to share with our units the day of was not realistic based on the technology and kind of the how much action we found on our website as far as people making donations. So if you're patient, we can send you an updated list in the few days after the day of giving. Also, the other thing you can do is as gifts come in, you can ask, hey, let me know if you make a gift. And you can kind of track as you go throughout the day which families have made a gift, and also the amounts. I mean, it's similar to what we've done in the past, where we track what gifts coming in from a unit and there's someone doing follow-up. That's really the main focus of this, is that it gives you the access to be able to say, hey, we're only $100 away from our day of giving goal. Can someone make a gift? That's the goal, is by the end of January of 2022, you're able to kind of have a good idea of how far away you are, so you can earn the rank advancement incentive. So,
second question, Bob, do you review unit coordinator responsibility?
I certainly can, Pete. Thank you for asking the question. I'm going to back up the slides if I'm able here. All right, Pete asks if we could review the unit coordinator responsibilities. And by the way, because we are right here at the LDC, we get to have Illinois Central come by and rumble the train. So we're going to hear that in the background. Apologize for that. The unit coordinator pre-day activities from now until the day of giving. Share and review the messages and materials that you get from council from with your unit leaders. So all the stuff about day of giving that we talked about on social media, any of the emails that we get to promote the day of giving, we just ask you to spread the word, essentially, is what we're asking you to do. That includes sharing your unit goal, the incentive messages, and talk and messages with parents. And so you're going to review the materials and messages with the unit leaders and do the same thing with the parents of the unit. And then I'm going to ask Ben for what this is. Identify matching gifts ahead of day of giving. What are you asking the unit coordinators to do there?
we have several I'm gonna try to get closer.
Yeah, get closer.
We have several companies in the area that do matching gifts. Patel, I'm not going to go through a whole list. One resource we do have at our webpage, and we'll add this to the day of giving page as well, is we do have a page specifically about matching gifts, where we can have like a search bar. You go in and click this, you type in your name of your company, and you're able to actually search whether your company has a matching program or a volunteer hour program where they give a donation as a result of the volunteer hours you do. But we'd encourage you to do that beforehand, because a lot of times there's paperwork involved with it. So for example, let's say I worked for ABC Construction, and ABC Construction has a matching program. Typically they have some sort of paper trail where after I've made my donation, I need to submit some paperwork in order for them to match the donation. And so that's kind of the goal, is to try to basically do some of the legwork ahead of time, so that you're not having to wait for the matching gift to come in until after January 31st. That's really what we're trying to do, is prep people to say, hey, if your company matches, start the paperwork process so that when you make your donation, either before or on the day of giving, that you can get the match and get credit for your unit's goal. So I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, please let me know. So.
All right. On the day of giving, computers are slow tonight. Post on social media. You saw Rich talking about this earlier, and you can post earlier, but the day of is when we really want to pepper the internet with social media posts about the day of giving in Simon Kenton Council. And also, chat it up with your parents and leaders. Make sure they know it's happening. Make sure that they get an opportunity to make their contribution. Make a contribution yourself, and track your unit's progress toward its goals. So that's, I'm going to assume you're going to have some sort of record keeping system to make sure you know who's given and who hasn't. And then on in the period after the day of giving, follow up with those who have not participated in Day of Giving in your unit and see if they will or not, just so that we know, and deliver pledges and donations to the council office or the district executive. If I know your district executives, they'll be reaching out to you before you have to reach out to them. So those are the responsibilities we're asking for unit coordinators to do. Basically be our liaison between the people here in the office and the units themselves. I see that Frank Hamilton has a question. And Frank, you asked if friends and family support, that's going to be people who are not registered in scouting, I'm assuming. When they pledge online or whatever, I assume you need to have, it says here, I assume that they need to input the unit number on the website. Correct. You do need to do so that they can identify the unit that the pledge or the donation is being made to. So yes, that is correct. And there's a field for that on the form.
Yes.
There's a field for that on the form. I assumed that, but I wanted to ask the officials who knew it best. Well, Dustin, you just did. Dustin asks, how do we volunteer to help with phone calls? I don't know which district you're in, but your district chair, will like to know that, and they're probably on this call, but if they're not, you can bet their DE is. So that's our best laugh of the night, I think. I'm going to go back. Sorry. Are there any other questions, comments? Thank you, Rebecca. I'll never call you Dustin again.
Pledges are made online. How does the coordinator know what to turn in?
So the question is, if pledges are made online, what does the coordinator need to turn in? So the coordinator would not need to turn any online pledges in. It would just be if someone handed a donation to you, for example, or they said, they emailed you and said, I will pledge $100 or I'll support one scout. That's really what we're talking about. Online pledges, the coordinator would not be responsible
Correct.
for handing any information in at all. It's just for physical and or emailed pledges. So
I should have made that clearer, because that's exactly right. If they're making the pledge online, which is what we hope, your work is a lot easier.
So another question on there is, when does the unit goal get created? We're gonna be in the process of creating unit goals. Again, one of the things we did last year that was somewhat met with some resistance was that we were told that we had set the goals beforehand, before we did this training, and units didn't have a lot of input into the goal itself, or we didn't really necessarily have a large conversation about it. And so because we're dealing with just units this year that are participating in the Day of Giving and not making blanket goals for Friends of Scouting for every unit, we'll have a little bit more one-on-one contact with each of our units when we're setting the goal, and you'll be getting that within the next few weeks, so that you can start promoting it and planning how you're going to reach your goal. So one question is, when will we receive an email with this information? I'm assuming that is regarding the toolkit. Ron, can you be a little bit more specific about what information you're hoping to you're looking for?
Yeah, I'll just jump on here. Yes, on the toolkit. Will we get the email with that with the toolkit information?
So it is live right now on the webpage, but we will be similar to what we did last year. We'll email all unit coordinators the toolkit in a zip file so that you have access to that. So you can download it right now on the skcscouts.org/Day of Giving. Then you go to the tab for unit resources, and you can get that. The only thing we don't have in there is we're trying to make the text and emails a little bit more relevant, so we're going to update those a little bit more. But all the graphics that some of them we shared is already on there. So
Right.
One question is toolkit ? So again, the slide that we showed earlier is for like online tools. So for example, here's some of the tools. So these are graphics that you can share on your Facebook post. There's a signature, like you see in the bottom or the top there. You can put that in the bottom of your email signatures. There's resources like a flyer you can hand out to families to let them know that what's going on. There's also going to be some war graphics with quotes on them. But yeah, we have some tools for you to use for graphics for like social media and marketing of the Day of Giving. So.
Will you be emailing this slideshow to the attendees?
So one of the things we're going to be doing is we're going to share the slideshow in the toolkit after it's done. And we'll also share a recording of the training so that you could use the training. It's gonna pop up with the video again, but so we will be sharing that with everyone on the actual Day of Giving site, and we'll be sharing with everyone via email. So great question,
How do I get
Lydia.
back here?
Sorry.
How do I get back here? Thank you. We could pop over to the website.
If anyone wants to see, actually, that's a great idea. Bob made a great comment of saying, why don't we pop over to the website if people are interested? I'm going to take the slideshow down for a second. Maybe not. I'm actually on a slideshow, so maybe. You guys can all see my beautiful empty screen now. And I'm going to go on to our page. So.
There you go.
So I'm pulling it up. So this is the page right here, the Day of Giving page. So if you go to skcscouts.org, Day of Giving, and you'll see here that there's the graphic you guys have all been seeing. There's a donate button here. You click on that and you can see there's a line on my screen, which is weird, but you can see on here there's a way to make the pledge. It's some information about what troop they want to have it indicated to put it to, and then what amount for the pledge, and a bunch of other options here. So that's kind of our donation page. We will be making, obviously too, we'll probably make a specific page just for Day of Giving gifts as well, to track them separately from just normal donations. We did that last year. We'll do it again this year. I'll go back maybe to our Day of Giving page here. You can also, if people say, I don't want to make my gift online, I'd like to receive an invoice. I'd really not like to go online. I don't like putting my credit card on any sites. So you can see here, we need to update this obviously because it has the old district's name on it. But you can see here, we have on here the different districts, which will update the names. And then that just recently happened. And you can click on these and email a person a pledge as well. The last thing we have on here, which is probably the most relevant to what we're talking about, is the unit resources, which here you can see here, here's last year's resources, which we're going to update all these. We have a caller training and all this stuff that we'll be adding. But then if you click on here where it says 2022 promotional or Day of Giving promotional toolkit and training resources, click that. You'll see in the bottom of my screen, hopefully, that the Day of Giving zip is downloading. And once it's downloaded, it's a lot of graphics and things of that nature. You can click on it and it should pop up. I hope you guys can still see this. And then you can see on here that it has all the different stuff. So there's email and social text, email headers, signatures, Facebook cover photos, flyers, logos, social media graphics. So you can see here, we don't put a few on there, but you can see the graphics. Put it on here so everyone can see it. Maybe you'll see them. I don't know if it'll download or not, but click on one and you can pull up. Sorry, I've got multiple screens going here at once. You pull up, this is one of the graphics. You might have seen this on an email we just sent recently, maybe not. But this is a graphic with some girls enjoying camp and our Day of Giving logo to help promote it. So yeah, that's again, the slide, this will all be available, or is all available right now. So if you go onto the site, you can find all these things and download the zip file as we speak. You guys are the first ones to know it went live because it went live tonight at the training. So you're able to do that, what I just did, and download it and start using the resources to promote the Day of Giving. So
There you go.
cool.
All right.
Any other questions?
Get us back to the. It feels like we're breezing along. We are breezing along because we know that at 7 o'clock, many of you are in another meeting. So we do want to be out of here before then. In fact, I think we'll be out in about 5 minutes, but I don't want to give short shrift to anybody who has any questions or has any concerns. We want to hear about it and we want to be sure we address them.
Andrea, thank you for already donating your banner, not donating, updating your banner. We appreciate that.
Awesome. Cool. If there aren't any more questions, and feel free, obviously you see ben.mulkey@skydown.org as my email address. If you've emailed me in the past and I haven't answered your question, I apologize in advance. I'll do my best to email me again. I will try to answer as quickly as possible. Question from Dan is there any suggested schedules for posting social media? We did have a schedule last year based on the timeline leading up to the event. I will add that schedule because it's pretty much the same. It's basically a 10-week schedule leading out to the event of what you should post when. We'll also post we'll share with everybody when we're going to post our social media posts from the council webpage or on the council Facebook page and Instagram, so you can share them from there. That's actually what we prefer, is if you could share the council's posts, because it would help create a little bit more buzz and get a little bit more action as far as likes, shares, and comments.
Not only share, but ask the people you send it to share too. Just keep building it out. So.
That is a great question though, Dan, because that's,
thank you.
you knowing that helps you be able to actually plan your time ahead to actually make posts in a timely manner. So we have that. I will add that to the toolkit. So.
Yeah. I'm not sure we can overdo this. I'm sure that we haven't so far. So. If there are no other questions, do want to thank you for your time. Want to thank you for volunteering to do the Day of Giving, for attending this training. And most of all, thank you for supporting SKC Scouting. It really does make a difference. And we appreciate everyone who has joined us here this evening. If you have questions, don't forget to reach out to Ben or to me or to Rich or anyone you happen to know in the office here. We'll get you the answer. We promise. So thank you very much and have a great evening.